We have a massive New York Yankees free agency update to go over as a report has revealed the Yankees are going all in this offseason on adding as much star talent to this team as possible. The Yankees projected to sign 2 star players in free agency, adding on to the exact 2 things that it has been reported multiple times the Yankees are looking at. We are going to break all this down as the Yankees are now projected to hit the biggest home run in free agency of all free agent players. Guys, before we jump into the video, if you are part of that percentage that's not subscribed to Yankees Digest, if you're part of that 69% that has not yet subscribed, make sure to go ahead and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss a single New York Yankees update. But with all that being said, let's jump into the video. There is a lot to go over on the Yankees right now because, look, as we know, this free agency, the Yankees have been targeting a few different things. Recent reports have indicated that the Yankees are looking at both adding another starting pitcher to this team along with an outfielder. Now, is that outfielder going to count if it's Cody Bellinger? That's a big question that we have to answer. But with Bellinger hitting free agency and a bunch of teams showing interest alongside the Yankees, such as the Los Angeles Dodgers showing interest in a reunion, and the New York Mets having a ton of interest in adding Bellinger to the team as their center fielder until Carson Bench comes up, there is going to be a big market for Bellinger. Now, however, weirdly enough, on the flip side of things, it feels like the market for Kyle Tucker is almost getting smaller. Now, this is interesting because obviously Tucker will have suitors. The Toronto Blue Jays are one of them. The New York Yankees are one of them. The New York Mets are one of them. The Dodgers are one of them, but there is a bit of a caveat that we have to discuss there. And now, after multiple reports and a whole lot going on, the Yankees have been named as the projection for Kyle Tucker on an absolute steal of a contract right here, where the Yankees, the prediction is from Bleacher Report that Tucker will sign with New York on a 10-year, $360 million deal with a player opt-out available after 2029, the same year that Aaron Judge will be at the end of his contract and 38 years old. Gerrit Cole and Carlos Rodon will be off their contracts, and the year that Paul Skeens becomes a free agent, which the Yankees already are planning for well ahead of time. So with all that in mind, this is absolutely massive. Now, here's the thing. 10 years, $360 million is a lot for Kyle Tucker, who had a shaky year last year. But honestly, I said this last season, around a year ago now, I was talking about this. If the Mets were to lose, or if the Yankees were to lose Soto to the Mets or whoever, which obviously they did, that they should go for Kyle Tucker because he puts up very similar numbers to Juan Soto and was going to cost a lot less. But with Tucker's market, if anything, shrinking, $36 million per year for Kyle Tucker is a monster steal of a contract. Now, if the Yankees could find a way to front load a lot of that money so they're paying more of it now, that makes things even better because the Yankees had a whole lot of cash come off their books recently. So if they could pull that off, then it would make it so much easier down the line to continue to make good signings and add a lot more talent onto this team down the line. The Yankees can use that money that they have off, partially from Aaron Hicks and from other contracts as well, to go out there and spend big on Kyle Tucker, adding in the best slugger in free agency. Now, Tucker is an absolute star player. Don't get it twisted. I know he had a shaky year of points last season, but still finished with an 841 OPS, a 143 OPS, plus a batting average of 266, and a 22 home runs. The home runs is way down, but he was dealing with an injury, and also he was playing in Wrigley Field, where it's very difficult for lefties to have success. We saw Cody Bellinger's numbers take a massive leap from playing in Wrigley to playing in Yankee Stadium, and Kyle Tucker, it would not be surprising to see the same thing. In fact, I'd expect it. Now, Bleacher Report said this: Kyle Tucker isn't as clear-cut of a free agent as it once appeared. He had a nice contract year, but posted just a 738 OPS after the All-Star break, as opposed to the 882 first-half OPS that earned him his 4th career trip to the Midsummer Classic. The former Gold Glove Award winner also had -1 defensive run saved and -1 out above average in over 1,000 innings in right field this season. A far cry from the 15 defensive runs saved and outs above average that earned him a Gold Glove Award in 2022. He had a down year, but there was a bit going on with this, as at the same time, some of the concerning trends can be explained if you're inclined to do so. Yes, Tucker hit just .231 after the All-Star break, but he played through a hairline fracture on his right hand that he sustained in early June. Will he win another Gold Glove Award in right field? Perhaps not, but it's not uncommon for players to have their defensive metrics dip in a contract year as they try to avoid injury before a major payday. Above all else, Tucker is still only 29. If teams believe some injuries the last 2 seasons, a right shin fracture that limited to just 78 games in his final season with the Astros, and they're not exactly indicative of what's to come. His relative youth should help him net a contract of at least a decade, and I expect that will happen, or it'll be at least 8 years. Now, also, as Bleacher Report mentioned, when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. signed a 14-year, $500 million extension with the Blue Jays in April without the benefit of testing the open market, Tucker seemed to have a real shot to top that. Now that we're here, there's zero chance of that happening. The Excel Sports Management client is going to get hundreds of millions of dollars, but he may want an opt-out clause after 4 or 5 seasons that sets him up to potentially get another crack at free agency during his peak when he's around 33, 34, and still being one of the best power hitters in baseball, or at least expected so. Now, on top of that, further complicating Tucker's free agency is the fact that the incumbent Cubs, who in theory should be one of the biggest spenders in baseball, don't seem likely to make a real push to re-sign him unless he lingers on the market and winds up taking a shorter deal. Jeff Passan wrote last week that the Dodgers aren't inclined to go 10-plus years on Tucker. We've picked the Yankees to land Tucker, essentially giving them a big money corner outfielder to make up for the loss of Juan Soto last winter. But what if the Yankees, with uncertainty about what they have in Jason Dominguez and an aging Aaron Judge, decide to bring back Cody Bellinger or Trent Grisham because they could play center field? Now, that's a real concern for sure. But here's the thing that we have to remember here. The Yankees have Spencer Jones, and he's ready. He's going to be a center fielder in the MLB. Chris Kirschner said the Yankees view Spencer Jones as a true center fielder. Not as a corner outfielder, a true center fielder. He's an elite athlete, showed that with 29 steals last year in the minors. Absolutely phenomenal hitter, 990 OPS in the minors last season, 30-some-odd home runs. The man's ready. You put him in center field. And then also Jason Dominguez came up as a center fielder, played left field because of Grisham and Bellinger being more experienced at the MLB level, and the Yankees being a little bit hesitant to just throw Dominguez straight into the fire in center field, especially when he wasn't that far removed from Tommy John surgery. So when all that added up, the Yankees decided to move Jason Dominguez to left field. The Yankees can easily say, hey, Jason, you struggled at left field for a bit before looking a lot better. We know you're a center fielder. We know you want to play center field. Kyle Tucker's going to play left field. You're going to play center field. Look, you're back at your natural position. And then also Spencer Jones is there. So in case Dominguez isn't working out, throw Spencer Jones in. One of them will probably work out. If they don't, obviously there's been talk about Spencer Jones being traded for Byron Buxton. You go out there and you do that. And you go all in your outfield, have a Tucker, Buxton, Aaron Judge outfield, and some MLB The Show-esque alternate universe. But at the same time, the Yankees have the money and the tradable assets to make something like that happen. If they want to go all in on winning, they should absolutely consider that. So the Yankees will have situations here to go out there and make big moves to acquire Tucker. Now, at the same time, Cody Bellinger in this situation, because Tucker's expected to sign with the Yankees, is expected to sign with the Mets on a 5-year, $135 million contract. If you would rather the Yankees sign Cody Bellinger to that deal, that's completely understandable, and I don't disagree. Bellinger's 30 years old, gets on base really well. It's the perfect guy to put in front of Aaron Judge because his ability to run the bases and get on base. So he has that, and also is a much better outfielder when it comes to fielding than Kyle Tucker, and that's probably going to stick around. Bellinger can play center field, he can play left, he can play right, he can play first base, he can bounce all over the place, where Tucker can't. He's got to be in the corner outfield somewhere, whether it's right or left field. Probably just throw him out in the left if Judge is still out there in right field for a little bit. I don't think Tucker will care. I really don't think that affects him, especially when he's getting Aaron Judge protection, which will bolster his numbers the way that it did for Soto. Obviously, again, Soto had a phenomenal year with the Mets as well. Now, Bellinger, he had a .272 batting average, 29 home runs, and an .813 OPS, while being a better fielder than Kyle Tucker. Objectively, better season than Tucker. I mean, it's not that hard to look at. The WAR, Bellinger's higher. It's easy to decide to sign Cody Bellinger. I flip-flop all the time on which one I want more. Looking at these right now, I kind of like Bellinger better. My gut says sign Kyle Tucker because the man's phenomenal, and in Yankee Stadium, he should be easily surpassing 40 home runs if he stays healthy. Can Bellinger stay healthy? We've seen him deal with injuries before. Last season, not really. He was healthy, so it's tough. It's tough to decide what you want to do, and this is when you look at Brian Cashman and say, how much money are you really willing to spend? That's going to make a huge portion of this really come to light. Now, at the same time, the Yankees are also predicted to sign Lucas Giolito to a 2-year, $43 million deal with a $20 million club option for 2028, meaning that he'd be on a 1+1 deal where he's got 1 year with the Yankees, and the Yankees will ultimately decide if they want to keep him around for that second year. We know the Yankees do one starting pitching, and Bleacher Report did discuss this, saying Lucas Giolito did not receive a qualifying offer from the Red Sox, which should help to improve his murky free agent stock. On one hand, he was tremendous for the Red Sox this season, posting a 3.41 ERA across 145 innings after an internal brace procedure on his right elbow forced him to miss the entirety of the 2024 season. On the other hand, Giolito does have a major surgery in the not-so-distant past, and a right elbow injury forced him to miss the ALWCS, where one of the reasons why the Red Sox lost to the Yankees is because they had to throw a rookie out there who, despite playing well, obviously couldn't deal with Cam Schlittler. Same situation likely would have happened where the Yankees would have won because Cam Schlittler is better than Lucas Giolito and showed it in the playoffs. So obviously that's another thing that we have to understand there. But at the same time, it does make some sense. And Bleacher Report did say while Boston's trip to the postseason was short-lived, his elbow was bothering him enough that it appeared likely at the beginning of the postseason he wouldn't be able to pitch. He said a couple days later that it did feel completely fine, though, which is important to note here. Giolito did have a good year with the Red Sox. 2.1 WAR, 3.41 ERA in 26 starts, stayed mostly healthy, had a whip of 1.290, and showed that he absolutely can stay healthy. Gives the Yankees another starter while Carlos Rodon and Gerrit Cole will start the year on the IL, so it does make some sense. They also just add another veteran onto the team. It's known the Yankees do want to add another starting pitcher as well, so adding Giolito gives them a veteran who knows how to win, who's bounced around a little bit, and would be able to play with the Yankees. We know the Yankees do have interest in Giolito. John Heyman did report that already, so a lot to think about. I do think the Yankees will sign Lucas Giolito. I fully expect them to. On the same side, do I think they're going to sign Kyle Tucker? My gut says I'd prefer him, and I know I'm going to get hate for that. I do think the Yankees are going to end up with Cody Bellinger, though, and no part of me is going to be upset about that. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're subscribed and you show or comment that you are subscribed, I will be sure to answer you within the first hour of the video being released, or within the first hour of the comment being there. I'll check it on my phone. I get alerts for when subscribers comment, so I make sure to respond to all those. So subscribe if you want your comment responded to with 100% guarantee. Have a wonderful day, guys. If you insult me, I might not respond, but maybe I will. Sometimes I don't care. Go Yankees.